JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 22nd of May 2020, so yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, some of the charts that we looked at this morning, so just to see how everything's kind of getting along. And yep, but before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. Now then, just a quick update on what's happening here globally in terms of the coronavirus. So yes, the figure has risen a little bit, but not much, but still kind of it still is better, and the whole kind of outlook seems to be still better than the yesterday's number. So let's continue. Let's see how all this is gonna develop by the end of the day today, of course. Now, jumping into a few charts very quickly, guys, and this is the first one that I just quickly unticked, unfortunately. Let me just go back into the first one I wanted to touch on was the German DAX, and let me just quickly have a look at this one. Now, the index here, it managed to push back above this 10,986 territory right here, the one that I was talking about. Now, if the price would have remained below this area, I mean, we could maybe consider another move further down. However, as you can see, the bulls are really fighting strong and fighting the bears, and they've managed to lift the price back above the 10,986 zone. However, they're still struggling with this barrier with the upper side of the range, and yep, the same basically outlook remains as previously. So we need to see a push of the 11,236 territory, roughly around there, in order to aim for higher levels. With the downside, of course, the more cautious approach would be a drop below the 10,280 territory here, which is the lower side of this range. Jumping into the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now here, the situation is also a little bit on the difficult side. Now, as you can see, yesterday the index closed at around 24,474 zone. Today, looking at the cash index, the price is just slightly below that area, and it's currently balancing at around 24,455 zone. So we're still below this barrier, below this 24,765 zone. We need to see a nice good strong move above it in order to aim for higher levels. I mean, not much has changed. The outlook kind of still remains the same. We are still within the range. However, we need to see a break of that upper bound of the range in order to aim for higher levels. In terms of the downside, the more comfortable level for us is after a break of the 22,942 territory here, or it could even be better, a drop below the 22,595 zone could maybe do the trick for more sellers. So that's why we'll be very careful for now, guys. If by any chance, looking at this picture here right now, if by any chance the price starts sharply moving below the 21-day EMA here, then yep, we could aim for the lower side of the range here, and yep, we'll take it from there, of course. But for now, we are a little still closer to the upper bound. So let's see if today the index manages to overcome this barrier, and if not, not, then well, I mean, we'll just have to reevaluate everything going into next week. Once again, I've done the same thing. Let me just get gold back into this list. There we go. Now then, gold. This is the one that I wanted to quickly talk about. It's the same idea still as my morning video. We are still stuck here above this 1723 territory, which, as you can see, continues to act as a very good area of support. And but at the same time, we are struggling to move back above the 1748 territory. We need to see at least a nice daily close above that in order to aim for higher levels, because as you can see, we keep getting these overshoots, but we don't get a daily close above this level. So that's why we'll wait for it. This upside line no longer valid. We can get rid of it basically. Yep, for now we're just going to focus on these two levels, the 1723 zone on the downside and the 1747 on the upside. 1748 on the upside. Brent oil. Now, looking at this picture here, you can see that yes, this downside line continues to hold. This downside line is taken from the high of the 8th of January, and today we've drifted lower. However, as you can see, the bulls managed to kind of push this one back up here. What I was mentioning this morning was that in order for us to maybe to start considering lower levels, we would like to see maybe a drop below this little territory, the 32.21 zone, which is the high of the 6th of May, and then yep, we could aim for slightly lower areas. In terms of the upside, preferably we would, of course, we'll wait for this break, for a break of this downside line, and then yes, we'll keep an eye on this 36.10 territory, which, as you can see, continues to act as a very strong area of resistance. And if we do get at least a daily close above this, then yep, higher levels could be met. Jumping into Bitcoin very quickly here. So as you can see, this is what I talked about in the beginning of this week. Basically, the crypto failed to move closer to this downside line, this long-term downside resistance line taken from the highest point of December 2017. As you can see, it even failed to reach the current highest point of May, which is around the 10,045 mark. So, and from there it kind of drifted lower. However, with the downside, I mean, it's still struggling with the downside because it's still above this short-term upside support line taken from the low of the 16th of March. Now, we'll keep an eye on this line, because if it kind of continues to provide support, then maybe we could see a nice push back to the upside here, or in other words, we could be seeing a bit of a coiling up here, as the crypto is stuck between these two lines for now. So yeah, guys, for now probably we'll take a bit of a neutral stand here, and we need to see a clear break, a clear violation of one of these lines, either the upside, this short-term upside support line, or this long-term downside resistance line. So one of these lines, if one of these lines get broken, then well, we could consider the next kind of directional move, and yeah, but until then we will remain a little bit on the neutral side. US dollar against the South African rand. Now, just a quick update here. I talked about this one this morning, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this barrier, the 17.8430 zone, which we've managed to test perfectly. And from there, you can see the pair kind of drifted back down. So everything's kind of working out according to plan right now. It is kind of balancing here, still below this 17.8430 territory, which is, by the way, the low of the 9th of April. And as long as it stays here, then as long as it stays below this barrier, we are going to be leaning a little bit more to the downside. But we're not going to drag this one too far lower. We're just going to aim for the low of the 25th of March for now, which is roughly around the 17.1730 mark, roughly around there, guys. In terms of the upside on this one, now, well, let's first of all get rid of these lines here, but well, let's get rid of one of those lines, but we'll keep this downside line here. And ideally, of course, we would prefer to see a break of this downside line taken from the high of the 24th of April, and then consider maybe kind of larger extensions to the upside. Until then, kind of any move higher here could still be seen as a potential correction before another leg of selling. NZD-JPY. Here the situation is that the pair continues to kind of range, and it violated this downside line, so let's get rid of it. We no longer need it, but as you can see, it's struggling with this barrier right here, the 66.17, or say maybe actually round it up towards the 66.18 mark, so roughly around there. And as you can see, it's kind of failing. It tried to overcome this barrier yesterday, however it failed to do so, and kind of drifted back down and even fell back below the 65.90 zone. So in a way, for now, kind of we're going to remain a little bit on the neutral side, because again, it's without any clear direction. It's moving without any clear direction. It's just kind of moving sideways a little bit here. But how, from the very short-term perspective, how we could play this one out maybe is that if we get a drop below the 64.87 territory here, this could also place the rate below the 21-day EMA, and maybe we could see a push towards the lower bound of the range here. But again, for now, we'll probably, like I said, as long as it's kind of staying here in between these two levels, between the 64.87 and the 66.18 zone, we'll definitely will remain neutral for now. We need to see a clear breakthrough one of these levels. GBP USD. So here the pair drifted a little bit lower today, and however, as I've mentioned this morning as well, that for us still to consider or the downside, or to get comfortable with examining lower levels, we would like to see a drop below the 1.2077 territory here, and only then kind of aim for lower levels, because this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and maybe more sellers could see this as a good opportunity to step in. However, it's still kind of floating here, so we cannot really talk about the downside yet, and even with the upside, we cannot really kind of examine any higher levels until we get a break above the 1.2296 level, which is the current highest, or actually it might be already the highest point of this week. So keep your eyes on this one, something to keep an eye on for next week. And finally, Euro USD. So here the pair drifted lower. I talked about this pair this morning, of course, and basically it failed to kind of move back to the upper bound here and drifted lower. However, it still remained above this. For now, it still remains above this 1.0875 territory that I talked about. Basically, we need to see a drop below this, and in order to aim for the lower side of this range. But again, until it's kind of stuck here above this 1.0875 zone and stuck below this 1.0990, well, we'll remain neutral. As you can see yourself, I mean, for now it's just too tricky to kind of try to predict which exactly direction it will go to. For now, like I said, let's wait for that break, and yep, we'll take it from there. Of course, with the downside scenario, the more ideal level here that we're keeping a close eye on is of course, the lower side of the range here, roughly around the 1.0777. A nice good drop below this could, yep, open the door towards lower levels. But until then, we're still a bit far from that area. So guys, this was a very quick overview, so I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for joining in. Thank you very much for watching and listening. If you want to catch my videos on Monday, as always, 6 o'clock GMT time. But for now, guys, I hope you have a beautiful evening and a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.